Caloocan, officially known as the City of Caloocan, is a first-class, highly urbanized city located in the northern part of the National Capital Region. Aside from being the sanctuary of the Katipuneros, the city prides itself for developing an investment-friendly environment where projects and activities are conducted under a government that gives the highest value to the needs of its citizenry. However, for the last 10 years, the rate of the city's population growth is increasing much faster than its economic resources. This uncontrolled growth did not only result to social and environmental problems, but also reached the extent of urban basic services being unable to cover the needs or the requirements of the rapidly growing sectors of the population. Based on the data provided by the 2012 National Statistical Coordination Board, there are three observations indicated, and they are: first, there are 8,740 families with income below the poverty threshold. Second, there are also families with income below the food threshold. And lastly, informal settler families, or the ISF, comprises of 54,953, or 17.19% of the total families in the city. This ultimately concludes that the Kamanava, or the Caloocan, Malabon, Navotas, Valenzuela region has a poverty incidence of 2.8%, which is higher than the NCR average of 2.6%. This then implicates that in Caloocan City, affected families experience the following struggles. First, families cannot sustain their minimum basic food and non-food needs. Second, families cannot meet the basic food needs to satisfy their nutritional requirements. And lastly, the occupancy of the ISF hinders the development of the lands into more productive uses. The graph shown about the Caloocan population shows a decline phase. This implies that the socio-economic status of its people are improving as the years go by. According to the United Nations, poverty entails more than just the lack of income and the productive resources to ensure a sustainable livelihood. Instead, it manifests the bleak reality that the population of Caloocan face in the daily. If this is the case, then, what should its government do to make its people-first policy be operative? We say that this is by firstly attempting to improve the economic well-being of its population. So for us, economic well-being must be pursued because of three things. First, because this ensures the ability to build financial knowledge and skills. Second one is that so that people will have access to safe and affordable products and economic resources. And lastly, this will give people the opportunity to generate income and build assets so that every single person in the Caloocan population will feel and be secured. So in the graph that we will show, we have identified 4 factors that we see that influence the economic well-being of the population of Caloocan City. In the graph, we have identified 4 factors that we see influence the economic well-being of the Caloocan population. So first is the government interference. So as an institution that is assigned and is meant to lead its people, interference from the government is only natural and is therefore imperative, especially in aiming to build better well-being for its citizenry. However, if their task does not meet the wants and needs of people, this will surely and only reflect and just worsen their situation. For the Caloocan government to successfully carry out its mission, they should implement developmental projects and policies concerning, first, education, because this will provide us with tools and mental characteristics that are required to excel in life. The second one is healthcare, because without access to it, people are far more at risk. While diseases, malnutrition, and pregnancy all can be extremely dangerous without proper help and support. So the second one would be the employment rate. So the stability of the economy rests on the ability to maintain a low unemployment rate and a safe and a secure workplace. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, this is what they said: when workers are unemployed, their family loses wages, and the nation as a whole loses their contribution to the economy in terms of the goods or services that could have been produced. So then, unemployed workers will also lose their purchasing power, which can also lead to the unemployment of the other workers, creating a cascading effect that ripples throughout the economy. In this way, unemployment even impacts those who are still employed. For this to be resolved then, we believe that the government should allocate more funds, for the creation of more jobs, and maybe help the companies. And this also goes to the companies themselves, that they should develop more flexible labor markets that are more pro-employees than pro-products, so that people will feel and be financially secured. So employees benefit from an enjoyable workplace, and in turn, businesses save money. So when a solid relationship exists between an individual and her working environment, this, in fact, benefits the society as well. So this is why, if the opportunity of employment were to disappear or be deprived to someone, not only affected individuals but also the society is to bear the consequence as well. Third is by lowering food prices, so that people of every background have access to food, which is necessary to build up our body and to keep it healthy. And lastly is by implementing wellness programs, because through these we are taught that staying healthy and well is important, and in turn these make us feel better, be more productive, and ultimately live longer. Okay, so the last ones are the population growth and the competition for resources. So the relationship between population growth and economic development has been a recurring theme in the economic analysis since at least 1798, when Thomas Malthus famously argued that population growth would depress living standards in the long run. So this theory was simple. Given that there is a fixed quantity of land, population growth, will eventually reduce the number of resources that each individual can consume. And then this will eventually result in starvation, disease, war, and of course, our second factor, the competition for resources. In other words, this view states that higher birth rates and rapid population growth would redirect the scarce capital away from savings and investment, therefore setting a drag on economic well-being. Seeing that there are a large number of large families in Caloocan, we can then hypothesize that they have few aggregate resources and fewer resources per child. Larger families therefore spread resources more thinly to support more children, and the fact that there are larger families that are existing stretches the opportunity for resources to its capacity even more. So it is undeniable that we only have limited resources, and so we have to decide what we are willing and able to buy. However, when we talk of resources such as our basic needs, our health and security should not be compromised. However, when injustices and inequality within business structures push for the deprivation of people by, for example, setting higher prices for their personal motivations, this is where people, especially those who belong in the lower backgrounds, are left with no choice but to suffer. A population will surely collapse if there is no intervention done to correct a decline. While in the case of Caloocan, poverty will continually rise there if there are no government programs to aid people in poverty that will serve as intervention. So then what do we do? It is vital that we people act immediately to improve the lives of a population so that it will not decline. So for this to be resolved then, we believe that by offering free contraceptives and facilitating family planning seminars, this will provide social and health benefits. So some of the many benefits include the first, by reducing unintended pregnancies and abortions. Second one is by empowering women to have their own choice. And third is by providing mothers and children better health. Four is that this will help with the reduction of poverty. And lastly is that so that we will have a better educated population. On the other hand, for competition of resources, firms should be encouraged to take risks by improving productivity, by reducing prices, and by rewarding innovation so that resources are efficiently allocated and distributed to the people. This will pave the way for equal rights to all sections of society, rich or poor, to access these resources. That's been more than a minute. See you in the next activity. Bye!